Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to playoff racing action Monday night for that of the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. The playoffs have struck in, and it's time for us to be having ourselves the round of 8. The last 2 weeks were the round of 16. We've cut the field in half, and we're ready for race number 1. As for Race Car Graveyard, the head sponsor, big thanks to the Big Diecast store. If you'd like to go get yourself a diecast and start your collection now, well, go over to Race Car Graveyard, as you can go find them on Instagram. Go follow them and use their discount code RCGY to receive 10% off of your next purchase. Again, they've got anything from 124th to 164th NASCAR diecast, and they are available new or used, and also you can put customs on those diecasts. Thank you to Race Car Graveyard for being our headline sponsor for the NAISCC Truck Series, and as well, big thanks to the Rookie of the Year sponsor, Hot Lap Designs. Hot Lap Designs has got you affordable schemes on the market, and they also are high quality schemes that you can get for your driver's suit, helmet, and as well for your car. They can get you anything you need, from that of old NASCAR schemes, brand new ones. Hey, if you are looking for a dirt, for that of asphalt, road course racing, it doesn't matter. Hot Lap Designs can do it. Thank you for Hot Lap Designs for being our Rookie of the Year award, and as well, plenty of other sponsors that we're going to tack on here this evening, as it is the Wine Country Showdown here at Sonoma to start the round of 8. And this round is going to be a hectic one. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moyer will be running the productions as you are watching a Freaky Fast Broadcasting race. Again, Monday night, it's one of the fastest, one of the best racing actions of the week, and it's slowly coming to a conclusion as we're counting tonight. 3 more races left in the season, and Zach, Sonoma should be a blast to watch.
Oh man, Sonoma, one of the classic NASCAR road courses that we've seen on the schedule for many, many years, and back to this historic shoot style layout here, adding back to turn 4 there. So it's going to be fun to see how these guys can tackle it in these trucks. I know, we recently seen the trucks go here for the first time, and actually the real NASCAR Camping World Truck Series come here and race actually here for the first time in a really long time. So it's cool to see these guys do the same here in this in their series here. And not only that, but to start off their round of 8 here in the playoffs, it's going to be tough for these 8 guys that are in these playoffs here to get it done here tonight, because next up they got Rockingham. It's another tough track, so here tonight could be a crucial way of setting yourself up for that next race at Rockingham to possibly be looking to fight for a championship.
Yeah, in this round, if you look back at a round of 16, that was only Kentucky and Talladega, and we thought that was going to be a tough round just because Talladega being such a wild card race. But Zach, this round, the round of 8, I think everyone can come as a collective group and say this is for sure the toughest round. You got a road course and as well a short track, which both are tracks that aren't used every single season that you come to a league, of that of being Sonoma and Rockingham. So this round is going to be tough to figure out. Our 8 drivers, we cut them in half. We go down to just 4, and that was 4. We'll fight it out for a championship at that of Homestead in just that of 2 weeks. But Zach, practice over, qualifying's coming up. It's going to be for 10 minutes, 2 laps for each driver, but it seems like for this field, they are struggling just to stay on this track.
Very, very tough road course here at Sonoma, Sam. I mean, not only that, I think the weather is one thing that plays a huge factor into this right now. We're looking at about 81 degrees ambient here, which, not the high on the highest side of things here on iRacing, but it's a clear skies here. No, not a cloud in the sky. That's giving us that 123-degree temperature on this racing surface, and that is the huge thing. Not only that, we're looking at a 14-mile-an-hour wind northwest, so kind of windy out there also. That could really be affecting these trucks, especially on a road course like this, where wind can really change the balance from one corner to the next. And we'll have to see how that shapes up. Man, I'm interested to see how the tire wear works out, how these guys can make this last. But right now, it doesn't matter about tire wear. This is qualifying. You can see right here, Christopher Norris in the 54. He's trying to get a little heat build up into those tires before he takes that green flag, and that's going to be key here. You want to get as much heat into those brakes and those tires, so when you come back up that hill in turn 1, your equipment is at its prime peak temperature. We'll see if he can put down a nice lap here, but going through the S's, getting ready to start his lap here in the next few corners.
Well, usually, Zach, when we come to these tracks for qualifying, heating up the tires is a usual thing to see at the ovals and other road courses. But with how hot this track surface is, would you even want to recommend these drivers trying to heat up, especially at the halfway marker of this track?
Yeah, that's a very good point too, Sam. You know, with it being as hot as it is, these tires are going to get hot quicker. It's going to be a much more reactive surface to these rubber tires, and we'll see. I mean, that could be a thing. Somebody could have figured that out. That's the one thing that I would say practice is the most utilized for these track drivers is to figure out, you know, what is the outlap that will take to get your equipment in the prime area. Because, like you said, it may take something that takes a very slow outlap that doesn't put a lot of heat into your equipment. So when you get to that mid portion of that lap, you're not overheating the tires. You're actually in the perfect range. So we'll see what type of strategy these guys take. But qualifying is so critical at road courses here. If you weren't prepared for this, then you're going to be really struggling when this race kicks off here. But looking like a pretty decent lap from Christopher Norris so far. Pretty tidy and hadn't seen too many mistakes from him.
Yeah, only mistakes we saw was coming off of the top of the hill from that of turn 3A, now through the S's for this, but that of a 40, that 54 machine. And Christopher Norris obviously coming in after last week's struggles, hoping to have a much cleaner run here at Sonoma, now going through that of turn 10, past the boards into turn 11. But Zach, I mean, this track, we've talked about tires, we talked about the heat. I think the next thing that needs to be touched on, the elevation. This is one of the tracks for road courses that there is a ton of elevation with this track being slapped right on the side of a hill. You're going up, down, and Norris with his first lap going to be placed in. Going to be our first driver to start out qualifying. But how is this elevation going to be hurting these drivers as well? Try to keep these trucks on track so you don't invalidate any air laps.
Yeah, that's very tricky. Is first off, not getting off track here. Very easy to stick a tire off into the sand, and that invalidates the lap completely. And, you know, you bring up the elevation changes. Where that comes into effect is really, you know, your braking up this hill here is going to be a little bit stronger. You're going to be able to drive a little bit harder into that uphill section. But as you crest over the hill, that's when the truck is going to get light. It's going to lose a lot of the load generated in these trucks as it comes cresting over turn 2 right here. As you see, Ali Fonseca right there at that crest of that apex, that's where you lose most of your traction. Now he comes downhill, turns towards turn 3, and that's going to have a lot of grip here. But now as he crests up out of 3, you're going to start to lose the rear end again. So it's a beautiful track in that way of having elevation changes that really affect the way you attack the corner. Not only the way you attack it, like I said, but the way you get out of the corner. And those are really crucial spots to keep your tires nice and cool, because that is spots that it'll continue to get worse and worse with the rear tires is over those crests, trying to put the traction down in those traction zones.
Then into the rhythm section of the S's, where just one misstep at the top of the hill while coming down could cost you greatly and throw you into the grass, into the sand, and have your struggles and tires being morphed away. As right now, top of the board, going to be Trenton Jump with Isaac Shelley, going to be on his back tail end, and a lot of drivers looking fast here during practice. Trenton Jump, obviously going to be one of our favorite drivers to watch out for, as we think back to Watkins Glen, the very controversial race where Trenton Jump got slammed by that of Pittman. Here tonight, obviously on my radar, is one of the faster drivers to watch out for in a race where we could be seeing one of our playoff drivers, Elite 8, try to lock themselves in. If they win, they're into our championship race at Homestead.
Yeah, if I'm someone like Trenton Jump, I had this race circled. You know, I just said, man, get to that round of 8, and maybe I'll be able to get something done. As we say that, talk about Trenton Jump a little bit, Danny Cochran in the 2, he was second fastest there in the practice, ran a 1:17.9 in practice, was able to get down to a 1:18.0 there to top Trenton Jump. We'll see if Jump's second lap is better, as he's actually coming out at 11 now to finish his lap. So we'll see if he can pick up any time on the second lap and if there's any extra speed there. Looks like a little bit slower actually for Trenton Jump. So yeah, a little bit of loss of speed here in qualifying, but we've seen how strong Jump was in the race at Watkins Glen. I think that's one thing we need to consider going into tonight. Will he continue that great race pace that you had? Because this is a track that, you know, you could go put a quick lap time down, but just because you can do that doesn't mean you can get a full run down around this racetrack. So we'll see if he can rebound from that. But right now, Danny Cochran on top of the board. Great lap for him.
Fantastic lap for himself. And Going to be also seeing one of our drivers here is going to be John Forbes, trying to make his way through the S's to start his first lap. Again, all these drivers were given 10 minutes for qualifying. Your goal was to, you had 2 laps, put down your fastest lap. Each lap around here going to be anywhere from a minute and 18 seconds to about a minute and 21 seconds for some of the slower end drivers that are more so thinking about racing the track more than drivers around them. As into turn number 11, going to be a very wide corner for Forbes, and he's really setting up for this one lap as his time is going to be set here. He's going to have one more lap to go here at Sonoma.
Yeah, interesting to see. He never really put down a lap that was, a qualifying style lap or a decent qualifying lap in that. At a practice session, we'll see if this second lap here is, like you said, he really set up for this one lap here. We'll see if it works out for him. But right now, from what I've seen, a little bit of sliding through 1 and 2 there, and he's going to see what he can do up through 3 here as he heads down to turn number 4 of the chute here. As one of the toughest zones right here. A little downhill braking, so the car really wants to push the nose here as you enter the corner. Now over the rumble strip. Don't hit that wall. That thing is dangerous. And now into the heavy braking zone here, down to this right-hander. You got to get to this curb. If you miss the curb, you miss the apex. He got a little bit of it here as he heads down. Now downhill towards the S is one of the most technical part of this racetrack.
Sliding, and you see that rear end, it just wants to kick out, and this is just with a warm-up lap, one official timed lap that got invalidated. And now on his last lap, John Forbes, 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. He's easily going to have enough time to finish this lap, but the goal is don't go off the course, and that's close. On the rumble strips, down in turn number 11. He's got to hope those rear ends didn't touch the grass as he goes around the tires and down into turn number 12. Hard into the throttle, a little kink to finish it out at turn 12, and across the line, John Forbes hoping for a speedy lap for himself. Going to be pushing him up to 11th for the 11.
Yeah, not probably what he wanted there. About half a second slower than what he ran there in practice. But he's going to have to deal with that and have a good race now because he's going to be starting near the middle of this field. But what a lap from Danny Cochran. I think right now, Thomas Walter and Carl Pooler not yet out on the racetrack. So I think that is going to pretty much bring it into the laps out there on the racetrack. But Danny Cochran, I'll tell you, if you would have told me he got the pole for this race, I'd be a little bit surprised. So that shows me he's been putting in the work this week. And if you've seen this league's Discord here, he's definitely been putting the practice sessions up. So practice, like they say, always makes perfect. We'll see. He's got a lot on his hands here with Trenton Jump starting second right behind him.
The difference between the two drivers is going to be 0.055 seconds. It's close. It's all 55 thousandths of a second, the difference between those two. They're going to try to see who is going to be the fastest of them here at Sonoma. Qualifying is coming to a conclusion here for 50 more seconds. And this gives us time to be thanking our qualifying sponsors, that at Sac City Diecast. If you didn't get enough diecast, you felt like, you know what, Race Car Graveyard gave me great options. I want to see what else, maybe what else is out there. Well, Sac City Diecast is the next place to go. Go follow Sac City Diecast on Instagram, as well as go check out their eBay page at Sac City Diecast, as they are out there with some of the best diecast and trying to compete with that Race Car Graveyard. It's good to see both of them coming out and supporting the league, such as the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Qualifying's concluding here in 10 seconds. Drivers are getting set, but Zach, what's interesting, we're missing at least one of our playoff contenders.
Yeah, missing Anthony Gaudio here tonight, so that's a big hit for him. He's going to have to go into Rockingham with the most likely must-win position here after missing tonight, Sam. That is not what you want to see if you're one of the playoff drivers, but you never know. Put your back against the wall in this system, he could still get it done.
Missing one, but hey, there's a couple of drivers here tonight that are gonna be haven't been here for a while, but showing up for Sonoma. Comfort zones are here, and it's time to take a look at how the driver is going to be set for the Wine Country Showdown here at Sonoma. Your Sac City Diecast starting lineup going to be Danny Cochran getting the pole position with Trenton Jump in the 46 to his outside. Two playoff contenders. If they get a win, they move on to the Final Four. Then it's going to be Isaac Shelley in third with Ethan Smith in fourth. Thomas Green in fifth with Jared Talmadge in sixth. Cody Reed in seventh. Holly Fonseca going to be in eighth place. Logan Brakey, hard break last week, but he's hoping to recover and fix it up here at Sonoma, starting in ninth place with Christopher Norris starting in the 10th position.
In row number 6, it's going to be starting 11th is that 11 machine of John Forbes. Alongside him will be the 81 of Jason Tamer. 13 is going to go to the 19 of Tyler Dingler with our other playoff contender in this section of the grid here, Eric Stamp in the 53. 15th place is going to go to Ferraro. Alongside him is going to be Aaron Kralik in the 01 machine in 16th. 17th is going to go to Justin Sipes. 18th going to go to Mark Morales in the 91 machine. 19th is going to be the 21 of Kyle Rochelle. 20th going to go to Kerry Trebu, as we got 2 more drivers here of Thomas Walter and Carl Fuller, who did not put a time down. It will start at the rear of the field, 21st and 22nd, as it looks like 22 trucks come to take the grid here tonight in Sonoma.
What's interesting about this grid and the way that these drivers are set up, were a couple of drivers throwing out the possibility of starting on pit road. And Zach, with how large this track is and how these drivers are going to be going through this field, what do you feel about that strategy for some going on pit road at the start of the screen?
Yeah, that's a very risky strategy, I would say. I wouldn't. I mean, it's not risky. It's actually really conservative, but you're risking having to push to catch up, I think. And this first lap, it's always mayhem going up the hill here at Sonoma, so you kind of want to get away from that. I could understand why someone could say, "Hey, man, maybe I want to start from pit road," but at the same time, man, it's so little. This race does not have yellows unless we have a major incident that blocks the whole road. I think giving up that amount of time is going to really affect your position possibly. So you got to take the risk here, I think, and try to get what you can here to get as many points heading into Rockingham. But some may play it safe. We'll have to see here. But looks like most of them out there on track.
Well, thank you for joining us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moyer running productions this evening on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It is the Monday night amazing racing action for the Truck Series, for the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. This is the round of 8. 8 drivers are racing here tonight, as this is the first of 2 races in this round to see who's going to be making it and challenging for the Final 4 in the championship of Season 2. The 8 drivers you're going to be watching out for is going to be that of Ethan Smith, Trenton Jump, John Forbes, Danny Cochran, that of Thomas Green, Eric Kralik, and Eric Stamp on track. Anthony Gaudio, the 8th driver in this field, did not show up for tonight's race. Those 8 drivers, the pressure's on. Sonoma's the start. Rockingham's the next destination to see who is going to be making it to the Final 4. There's a lot of different storylines to talk about, but Danny Cochran, Trent Jump, going to be starting it all off as we're getting ready to go green here at Sonoma. The 2 ready to launch. They're heading into turn number 12 here at Sonoma Raceway. The Wine Country Showdown is green, and playoffs round number 8 is on as they go up, down, up into turn number 1 and up the hill to turn 2.
This is where we got to watch out right at the crest of the top of the hill. Danny Cochran, though, quickly going to slide to the lead, but he's going to lose the rear end on exit. And Shelley going to have the big run here as they come down towards turn 3. It's going to be a log jam here behind Cochran.
Ethan Smith starting up front in 4th, but now back to last. The 00 goes off after turn number 2 as they're still having issues. There's Logan Brakey, Ollie Fonseca, Norris, as well as Forbes going to get by the 29. Going down into turn number 4, hard braking zone through the short chute into turn number 7. The reason why we go for 4 to 7 is because there's a chicane that we have cut off. We're now on the classic course through the S's. Danny Cochran holding for strong for now, but our top 3 all on top of one another as we hit that of turns number 8 into 9 and soon into turn 10.
Yeah, here this 3 truck breakaway up front. Danny Cochran, Trent Jump, like you said, Isaac Shelley, all doing a great job. But Ethan Smith's the one who lost out the most there, starting in 4th. He is right now coming down out of the S's into turn 10 as these guys go down to 11. Starting from 4th, that's a tough break for the driver who led the points coming in here to tonight with the most coming into this round. He's going to have to bounce back big, but he's got Rockingham coming up. Should be a good track for him, but he's got to be able to make up spots here tonight in this 35 laps. Can't get too ahead of himself.
Up front, going to be Danny Cochran leading lap number 1. Also on that for Ethan Smith, you noted on it there, Zach, no yellows at our stage break. That's going to be at lap 15. Top 10 get bonus points. And for that 00, he's going to be all the way back to 19th. He's slowly starting to march his way forward as he's caught the tail end of the rear of the field. There's Ethan Smith. He's got a lot of work. And there's drivers in front of him making contact. Oh no, more playoff drivers. It's Kralik as well as going to be that a Stamp and going to be Martin Morales Jr. Contact between themselves. Ethan Smith, he's going to try to get rolling, but for himself, it's going to be internet issues for the 00 as he's trying to reconnect in, and able to steal at least 2 more spots.
Man, oh man, craziness there coming out of the hill there in turn 2. It was just Kralik spinning up the rear tire. There was really nowhere for Eric Stamp to go. They get stuck together. Then Morales lost it going down into 3. That caused a little bit of a log jam, but the driver who really liked that probably was Ethan Smith, who lost all that ground there. He's, sorry, actually, I don't know actually if he's gone, actually. He may have,
he's blinking in and out. He's got really bad connection right now, and he's hoping that will get fixed up, but at this moment, 00, we might not be able to show him very often on screen, but he is up to 15th, still on the session. But we're gonna have to keep our eyes on that 00, especially if he does officially get pushed out of the server. But for now, up front, it is going to be seeing these drivers, that of Danny Cochran as well as Trenton Jump, Isaac Shelley making their charge forward, and the battle for the lead. Not surprised, Zach. Qualifying showed that they were quick on pace. Also, practice showed they were going to be quick on pace. It's Isaac Shelley, who's doing a great job keeping up.
Yeah, he's really doing a great job here behind these top 2 here, who was, really, like you said, very close in qualifying. So expected that to be a very close race between these 2, but Shelley has seemed to come right into the picture. Thomas Green and Cody Reed even not too far behind, and Cody Reed's kind of the one that I had circled in my brain because, fastest in practice there actually. Had a terrible qualifying session, did not get the lap and he won, and I know how that feels as a driver. It's so tough when you got that pressure-packed moment to go down there and put 2 laps together around these big road courses. It's so easy to make just one slip-up and mistake that could ruin the whole entire lap. He's putting a lot of pressure on Green here. He may look for the move down to 11, and look at that, hard on the brakes down to the inside, but can he keep the rear under him? Too hard, though. Here's he crosses back under. You're going to see the 15 now. Who has the power to put it down? I think the 25 going to still win out in this, but you cannot be locking up too much there. They're still going to be side by side. This is a sketchy spot here as they cross the start-finish line to head to 1.
Side by side, who's going to give, or will they stay side by side? They continue to stay side by side up the hill. Green going to be in the better positioning through turns 2, but can Cody Reed make the crossover? He gets back on the throttle, not able to hold on to go into turns 3, up through the hill into 3A, and it's going to be that of Thomas Green for now. But he's riding on board with 25, just can't get the rears to stick coming off the corner, and now just has to settle and see if he can rebound from here on out.
Yeah, I think you're seeing a little frustration made there as he spins the rear tires up, trying to get back, and maybe try to make a move. But up ahead of them, they're side by side going into the S's. It's Shelley and Trenton Jump. This is going to get dangerous here. Can't go side by side through there. Luckily, Jump backs out of it and slides out of the way. He's going to slide back to 3rd. Now Shelley up to 2nd with Cochran out front.
That is very aggressive from Isaac Shelley, and he is going to be forcing his way in to turn into that a 2nd place positioning. All started at the top of the hill at that of turn 7, and then just forced his way through the S's. This 98 really wanting to get aggressive now. But Zach, I'm curious though, how much of this aggression early on for Isaac Shelley to even stay with our top 3 and then make the pass for 2nd? Is this going to be great enough in the long run, especially on the tire wear that we were hearing from the drivers?
Yeah, that will hurt your car, your truck here for sure. And he made that big move heading down into 7 and really just blew the entry. He had actually perfect opportunity to make a really clean and easy pass, but blowing the entry like that, it really allowed Trenton Jump to cross back over and get to the outside of him, and heading down through the S's. When you're on that outside like that, Trenton Jump made the smart decision to back out of it because it could have really upset the rest in the balance of his race. As you look back to Trenton Jump, Shelley's starting to close in a little bit on Cochran up ahead of him here as they head back down to 7. It could, again, this could be that cat and mouse game. This is a lot of things you got to play here at road courses. As that driver out front, you have the clean air, the ability to really control around these sections of the racetrack. Right here in the S's, this is where you want to be out in front. It is very tough to make up ground and, try to even get in the zone to make a pass. This is really the corner that you're trying to make it happen here is in turn 10. But when you're behind somebody in this high-speed zone, it's so hard to be able to follow through there and get the run out here to make the move heading down into 11. So Cochran has that ability, and man, he is flirting with that pit wall on entry. I know the guys like to open it up, but that can get very dangerous there as Shelley misses the corner a little bit there. And you can see little mistakes like that lose a lot of time.
It really does, and with that opening and a gap being shown, we got to fall back to 4th place as they're side by side coming across the line. It's going to be Jared Talmadge, Thomas Green. They have been on top one another, and now going to be Cody Reed getting in the mix. And this is interesting to watch because of that of Thomas Green, Talmadge. I mean, a lot of history. Oh boy, Green, now you don't want to be there. Off course, losing 2 positions and more as he's still trying to get on track.
Yeah, it's going to be a loss of about 4 positions here before he gets it back going before 3. And Talmadge going to say, thank you very much. I'll take that position nice and easy from him and that 17 machine who's up from 6th to 4th now. It's a great run for him as Cody Reed behind, rear tires lighting up there off the exit of turn 4. And that's such an easy corner to do that in. And man, Reed's going to have to be careful there as if you want to keep these tires working, you're definitely not going to want to be doing stuff like that.
Absolutely not, but here's another great battle that's going on. I talked about those rear tires getting lit up. Well, Ollie Fonseca has been dealing. Those rear tires have not been happy coming to the exit of the corners. He's got a couple of scuff marks on the left and the right side of this 24 machine, and he's also got it out of a rear deck lid full of the 54. Christopher Norris coming his way through in this top 10. One of our biggest movers is Christopher Norris in the 54.
Look at this big move here, and up ahead of him, Cody Reed went off in turn 10, so he lost a lot of time here right up ahead of this group here. So this is big stuff for Christopher Norris, running great here, really putting the pressure on Fonseca, who was able to put the power down there out of turn 11 as they head down here to turn 1. We'll see if Norris can try to set him up for something else. But so far, we've, through these first 7 laps, had some great passes, some great racing here throughout the whole entire field.
And one driver that is in some major misfortunes coming out of pit road and back on track, going to be the 57 of Thomas Walter, who is our first driver to go 1 lap down as we continue to watch this battle for 6th place. Watch out here down into turn number 4. This is where Ollie Fonseca has been really finding some trouble getting back into the throttle, and Norris has been closing in, getting closer and closer, and here we go again. Ollie Fonseca found a much better line out of turn 4.
Yeah, just getting that power down out of 4 there, and it's that rumble strip plays a a really big factor in how you put the power down there. So how do you get on that will be key. As you see, a little bit of scuffing there on the left side of 24, so a little bit of damage from him, maybe a little bit of rubbing racing there through there as they head out of the S's, now heading down to the high-speed section here for this right-hander at turn 10. It's so, like I said, so crucial to set up passes here down to 11 if you want to make something happen. We're looking Forbes here through 10. He looks to have a pretty decent run, but I don't know if he's going to have enough here to dive into the inside of Tamer. Not going to do it this time and stay behind.
Stays behind. Tamer was faster last lap, but this lap looks a lot quicker for that 11 who's scuffed up, banged up, and just trying to survive. A lot of the drivers from 10th on back have been caught up in some type of issue, as there's been multiple drivers going off course, out of time, and this is where we find the update. Ethan Smith, after his spill from 4th back to 21st position, he's now up to 14th.
Great drive for him back up here, but still trying to get here before lap 15 to get those possible stage points is going to be a critical thing for him. I don't know if he'll be able to get up to 10th. That's about that's about 7 seconds up the road for him, so that's going to be very tough for Ethan Smith. As you see Kyle Rochelle behind him, about 2 seconds for this number 21 here back at 15th, but this is going to be the one that's the tough case that's going for Eric Stamp here. Tough start to his playoff in round number 8 here for him, as he got involved with that issue with Aaron Kralik. And
Kralik's even further back than Stamp. He'll be behind Carl Pooler that we see here on screen, 17th position for the 71. And then you find the 0-1 of Kralik. And I got to say, for Kralik, he certainly is making a good run for himself. But I talked about a driver trying a different scenario. Tyler Dangler, the only driver to start on pit road. He's been able to make 3 passes so far with other drivers' misfortunes. And with the cleaner 19 machine, he might be able to grab at least 2 more spots over Pooler and that of the 0-1. This is why we find that of Tribune, as well as our 2 other drivers battling for potentially would have been last place, but because the fact that Walter is a lap down, going to be finding the battling for 21st just for show more than anything else. As we move back up for the battle for 9th place, Jason Tamer, he's holding strong, and also in front of them, Thomas Green continues to go off track.
Yeah, Thomas Green again off track there as that battle behind still ensues. Looks like Forbes going to get it done here as they head down to 3 ahead of Tamer. So takes that position back after Tamer made the pass on him. It's a great job by Forbes there to get another position back. Any position, any point is going to be critical here, especially heading up to that lap 15 stage. You know you want to be able to get as many bonus points here to to pad that cushion for you heading into Rockingham. But tell you what, it's been great battles back here. you know, I've seen a few moments up front where Isaac Shelley's gotten pretty close to the back bumper of the two machine. He seems to be really driving in a lot deeper than our leader, Danny Cochran. And if he gets too close, we may see some type of contact with the differences in their braking zones. So we'll have to watch out for some mistakes like that. But man, look at that big slide from Ferraro into the S's. That was a big catch for him.
Able to hold on, and that's a spot where you're either going to save it and able to cruise your way down through the S's, or you're going to completely loop it around and find yourselves in the tire wall. And for that of Ryan Ferraro, he saves it for now, but he's got the very aggressive 21 of Kyle Rochelle going to be on his back bumper and trying to poke the nose is going to be Rochelle, but just not close enough. And Zach, I mean, for these drivers here tonight, turn 11, that's obviously the big braking zone, a great spot to make some passes, but also a great place to get some revenge if you have been waiting all season for.
Oh, no doubt. That is pretty much you're a sit and duck if you're in front of a person there, if you're you've made someone mad. So you definitely don't want to be in front of someone who you think is trying to pay some revenge back. And you never know. Like you said, turn 11 is the perfect corner to do that. And you really don't even have to be too close. As long as you're within a couple tenths of the person up ahead, you can really dive it in there, get to the back bumper, and make something happen. So it's definitely interesting to see. Is getting word that his 24 has gotten into the wall again one more time, and that's possibly down there at 4, I'd imagine, Salmon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the big thing for Ali Fonseca. He's just been so aggressive on trying to make that wider, go over the rumble strips, getting hard on the throttle out of turn 4. He's inching closer and closer to that outside wall, and the closer he gets, more damage you put on. This driver certainly, you know, aero-wise, not a big deal, but if you get any type of suspension or steering issues, that is going to be a big deal. As Christopher Norris goes extremely wide, gifting a position, and watch out for John Forbes. He sees that sideways 54.
Ooh, big moments out of 11 for both of those guys there. It's looking like the rear tires are starting to be the Achilles heels for a lot of people. I'm seeing Isaac Shelley last time by. He ran about the same speed as Cochran, but he's been sliding a lot with those rears. Same for Trenton Jump. So our top 3 starting to feel the effects of the tires, I believe, here finally. As Shelley going to get back in here close here as the top 3 still all within 2 seconds of each other. The one thing I've noticed is Cochran's missed his braking zones a few times the last 2 times. But one thing is really scaring me with this too. He's been running so great, very consistent here. But when he goes down into 11, he really utilizes a lot of the racetrack and that tire barrier. There's been multiple times he came very, very close to completely clobbering it. And you got to push the limits, but how far can you push those limits is going to be the question. Shelley's coming in very quickly here. You'll see here as he breaks down into the zone, he hits the cones. That time not too close, but the time before, man, I'm telling you, it was pretty much scraping. So got to be careful with not getting too much there. As Shelley seems to be putting the pressure on.
Exactly. I mean, especially on the drivers, if they touch that water, if they hit the interior pit road wall, that is basically a for sure sign that your day is done. And these drivers don't have any fast repairs for themselves. Do not have any opportunity to make a major mistake if you're up front. If you want to get a win, especially lock yourself in, such as Danny Cochran and Trenton Trump are trying to do, you got to be pristine, you got to be perfect. And already the pressure's on. Shelley's thinking about it into turn 4. Just got too squirrely off the exit to 3A. He's going to have to reset and try again. Potentially, if he can get a good run through the S's, Shelley's got opportunity at 11.
Yeah, he definitely has the opportunity at 11. And, another thing, like you said, that's terminal damage if he gets into that wall. It's also, if he gets into that wall, it's going to shoot that car back out most likely. If you're someone like Isaac Shelley, you got to be paying attention to that even. And I think Trenton Jump might be in a good spot if something like that was to happen to miss that. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, Shelley really putting the pressure on here. Cochran has had a few moments where it looks like, personally to me, his rear tires are a little better, but his fronts is just going away as he's looking a little bit tighter as this race goes on and losing the front end in the high speed zones. Looks like Shelley going to take a little bit of a different line here. His great exit from the 2 there through 11, and see he really utilized that curve, got way low right against those tires, and that's the optimal line around there. So Isaac Shelley, as he's gotten close there again, another big mistake, and he gives up some time.
It's into the outside wall, and now going to be losing ground as drivers are starting to come into pit road to make their pit stop. One of the drivers that's coming in, Cody Reed, who was running in fifth at one moment during this race, had an issue at turn number 2, lost a ton of ground. Those tires were too hot. It feels like he needs to come into pit road, use up his set of his tires, get back out there on track, as well as 2 other playoff contenders have come into pit road. Eric Stamp and Eric Kralik both have made their pit stop as well. Stamp a lap ago, and that of Kralik 3 laps ago.
Yeah, this was my question of what the strategy was going to be when I came into this race. 35 laps around here at Sonoma. I'm personally, there's a lot of options here. You're seeing Reed come here at 13. I feel like that's pretty early here to be stopping. But, man, we'll see what he looks to do. He should be good on fuel completely to the end here. I actually think this race could possibly be done on a no stop here fuel-wise. But I think the tires are going to be the premium that they're looking for. If you can make the tires last and a no stop work, it may be the way to go. But so far, it looks like some guys have already took the option of hitting pit road to get those new Goodyears. And I can tell you, 35 laps around here on a set of tires is very tough.
And if looking at the drivers, especially our leaders, compared to their fastest time that they put down, that of Danny Cochran, he put that on lap number 2 with fresh tires with a 1 minute 19.2 second time. His slowest time has been that last lap, and that was a 1 minute and 21 second 0.3 time. So almost a full 2 seconds off is going to be our leader on tires. So he's starting to feel that wear and tear. And these drivers have 4 extra sets of tires in pit road here tonight. So if we had had a full course yellow, they knew they could come in. They were going to be set on tires if they needed them. And also, if someone wants to try a very gutsy strategy coming to pit road multiple times here tonight, they've got plenty of tires to do it. As we see here, third place runner Trenton Jump getting a great sight and see as Isaac Shelley and Danny Cochran both trying very different top lines at the entry of the S's.
Yeah, he's got some good sights and sounds here for sure behind these two, and he made a big mistake, not the last lap, but the lap before that really dropped him back a good bit. But personally, he's looked the smoothest here in the last at least 2 laps here. The last lap was much quicker than the 2 up ahead of him, about 2/10, and this time here really closing the gap down. As we ride on board with him, you can see visually that he is closing in on these two. And this is coming back to where I said at Watkins Glen, he just had tremendous long run pace, was able to keep the consistency all through the run, and that's starting to show here as this run continues on these tires that he is very, very quick here. Again, that time a little bit quicker than Cochran, a little bit slower than Shelley, so these 3 pretty much matching each other on pace.
Also want to give reports of more drivers further on back having major issues as Gary Tribune goes off course, going to make contact with Carl Pooler once trying to rejoin and re-enter the racing surface. And because of all that contact, he's gifted position to that of Eric Stamp. And he saw there, Tribune is just struggling. Those tires are gone, and he's taking any way to get down this course and get to pit road.
Yeah, he was he was just jumping across the curbs there. A little bit more of a motocross action than this type of racing here with these trucks. So definitely trying to get himself back down here into pit road and maybe get some service fixed up on that car, because the tires just seem to have gone away for him. As we'll look here as he heads down to 11, he says, "Nope, I'm good. We'll just keep going. That was just a simple mistake." As I tell you what, we need to look for this lead, because I think a move's coming. Cochran's got the 98 here right behind him. Here he comes to the inside into 11. We've seen multiple times that 98 wash up. Maybe a little bit of contact between the two is now. The 98 powers off the corner, but Cochran going to hold on to it at the outside line.
And a big thank for Isaac Shelley. He was so slow and low through the corner. Yes, that's the preferred line to be, but he never had space to get back into the throttle, and so that's going to cost some time on the straightaway. But showing he's got a nose, he can get close, and because of that, Isaac Shelley not able to take the lead, as that will be our stage break for these drivers. No yellow will be thrown, but our top 10 going to be Danny Cochran, Isaac Shelley, Trenton Jump, that of Jarrett Tallman, Jolly Fonseca, that of Thomas Green, Christopher Norris, John Forbes, Ethan Smith, and that of Jason Tamer. Going to be your top 10. Got to give credit to that of Ethan Smith rebounding and at least getting himself 2 bonus points here at the stage break.
That is a big break for him for sure, man. That is a great drive back from 20th all the way to 9th there in 15 laps. And he's gaining on his teammate John Forbes up ahead of him in that 8th position. So he has the possibility to keep climbing up that grid order. And that would be a great rebound for Smith, who's going to need it for sure. Any points available here heading into Rockingham next week. But Cochran's going to like where he's at. He's got his 10 bonus points. But right now he's got a hungry driver outside of the playoffs trying to maybe take a little bit of a win here from him. But I tell you what, Cocker there into the corner, sliding the rears on the entry a little bit, but there on the exit, Shelly slides his. So it kind of counteracts, and it's pretty much everybody sliding around this point. Is how tough these tires are now getting torn up here on lap 17. It's a little bit of a connection issue for our top driver there, and don't want to see that happen.
No, do not want to see that at all, and that's going to be the big thing that we keep on watching our eyes on. Is some of these playoff contenders, they've had internet issues throughout this season. I think the driver that always comes to mind is Thomas Green, usually the normal contender we look out for, as well as Ethan Smith. Both of them hoping that their internet is cleaned up enough. Ethan Smith, early on in the first couple of laps, was having connection issues. It has gotten cleared up, but for Danny Cochran, who's leading this race, starting to close in on lap traffic, this is when Sonoma becomes the trickiest on how nice will lap traffic be to our leaders, or are they going to be very aggressive between one another?
Yeah, that is a huge question for sure. Next driver up is going to be Aaron Kralik for the 2 machine as he heads into turn 10. Danny's going to get there now, so about a couple seconds back from this 0-1 before he heads off into 11. Then he's going to have Carl Pooler and Eric Stamp. So really 3 drivers that are particularly close to our top 2. As you can see Shelly just close in on the braking zones, but Cochran has a little bit straighter exit there and look, builds the gap on the late corner. So that's just the difference in how these guys are driving it, and it's very interesting to see how it's all playing out with that difference.
And with that lap, these drivers also going to be seeing themselves making ourselves at the halfway marker of tonight's race. Only 35 laps is this race, and Zach, I was trying to do some calculations on how fast this race could go because of the fact that we do not have any yellows that are supposed to be coming out for this race, and it's only 35 lap race at a course that's only that of a minute 20 seconds in time. Technically, this could be our fastest race of the season for these drivers. We had the timed event at Iowa, second race of the season. That was an hour in time. But I gotta say, the way we're seeing the pace being put down, we could see these drivers finish under an hour if they keep up at this pace.
Yeah, we definitely could see that. That's very achievable, I think, at this pace these guys are running. And right now, I'm seeing Shelly making big mistakes, but Cochran also did there out of turn 7. Luckily for his sake, though, he keeps it all straight as he spun up the rears there. As you can see, Shelly now lost a little bit of ground there. Another little slide. Look, Trenton jump, slide in the rears. These guys all still yet to pit out front, and Shelly blowing through turn 11. That is not going to be good for him there, as it looks like the 46 now going to try to gain a little bit of ground in that second position, as Cochran is starting to get a little bit of breathing room here, and that is a good feeling when you're at a road course, because I can tell you, you got a driver in your mirror, it is so tough to hit your marks.
He's trying every little thing, and now for that Danny Cochran, going to be having that of the 0-1 into the turn number 3, very defensive line, and that's going to be holding up our 2 for our leader. This is not what he wants to see of drivers running very aggressive for themselves. Finally gets out of the way into turn number 4. Now the question for that of Isaac Shelley, he has to get by Kralik here before they get into the entry of the S's. Otherwise, he's going to have to follow this 0-1 all the way down the hill.
Yeah, I think this may turn out to be an issue here for the 98, because I don't think he's going to be close enough, and it doesn't look like the 0-1 of Kralik is going to roll over. So yeah, going to be stuck behind this 0-1 here all through the S's, but luckily not too close with that little bit of a mistake he made, as I think Kralik up ahead definitely able to open up a little bit of gap that allows that 98 to help himself. But don't like the dirty air, that's for sure. The dirty air will really hurt you here heading down into 10 and 11.
The gap was second. After having to follow that 0-1 all the way down the hill, the gap now almost over 2 seconds. More drivers into pit road as Isaac Shelley hard on the throttle trying to get revved up. And I think the one thing that's also got to be for Isaac Shelley, he's got to be thinking about is the fact that Aaron Kralik is on fresher tires. He came into pit road just out of 10 laps ago, right when the pit window opened up. And now for the 0-1, he feels very comfortable and just in cruise control at this moment. As Shelley, older tires, he's making all the mistakes right now.
Yeah, that's 2 laps in a row I've seen him do that same exact mistake up into turn 2, and that's a tough corner to be able to get the truck slowed down there when the tires get older, and that's what I've seen, just losing the nose there as he heads off into the corner. But I tell you, he's fighting a lot of problems here too, but I can tell you our leader Danny Cochran's fighting a lot of problems too. Last time he went down into turn 11 at the hairpin, I mean, he almost spun it right at the center of the corner. He was losing the rear end all the way through the braking zone, and
Oh,
that's telling me, oh no.
issues going to be coming up. It's going to be Ethan Smith going to be dooring himself into the outside wall onto that of turn 12. And then he's going to be collected up with Carl Pooler on the entry of turn 1. Playoff implications. Ethan Smith heavily damaged. Doesn't look like it's required damage, but heavily damaged. This 000 is just trying to putter his way through, and that is a giant loss for a driver that's had to make a recovery today. Now up to 8th. Could be losing more positions with how slow he is.
Yeah, I think he's got some major engine damage. It looks slow on the straights, at least for me, power-wise there, as he's got this group behind him. And look, oh, it's stacking up here as they all come out of turn 7, heading down towards the S's. And this is where you'll see how that truck really can perform here with this damage he has. But, man, oh, man, that's so tough. And like you said, playoff implications indeed. He comes in here with the points lead. Definitely going to leave without that.
No, he's not. And he's going to have to just hope that once he gets into pit road, the damage isn't as bad as he once thought. Christopher Norris, one of our drivers in the top 10, now going to be coming into pit road. Here comes the 000 into pit road, needing to come in. It's not required damage for Ethan Smith, so he could still keep on going. It's all about him on how long he wants to be on pit road and gain this damage repair, but obviously underpowered and going to have to struggle to get into his pit box. And for Ethan Smith, once again, internet issues blinking him out of here as he gets into his box. We'll still take a look at some of the closer battles on track. That's going to be for that 8th, 9th, and 10th, all on top of one another. Excuse me, that's 9th, 10th that are going to be on top of one another. That's going to be Logan Brakey, Cody Reed making the pass up into turn 3.
Great job by Brakey there. That's not the the easiest passing zone, but did a great job getting the power out of 2. And that's somewhere where you can get it done there as he takes that position as they head into the shoot up ahead of Cody Reed here down into turn 7. Really another great place to pass. But here, look at Reed almost looking to the inside. That gets a little bit close there between those two. That could have been dangerous. Don't want to see any little bit of instance. There's, look at Tribute behind him there. Goes around the 10. His woes continue.
One lap down is that 10 machine. It was not for position. He was just following this pack of 4 that are on top of one another. Justin Sipes, Kyle Rochelle, Logan Brakey, Cody Reed. It's 2 different duels. They're now closing in on top of one another. And Cody Reed, he's had a strugglesome day so far, and he's going to figure out how he wants to attack as here comes Sipes into pit road, and here comes Reed to the inside into turn 11, and mistakes by that of Kyle Rochelle right in front of Logan Brakey, and they're able to survive, get by the 21, and as they continue to race on, terrible news for the playoff implications. Ethan Smith, instead of continuing to just ride along and hope for other drivers to have mistakes, he calls it a night early, same for Carl Pooler.
Ooh, those could be critical points he's going to lose out on now. I mean, I know it's tough. You don't want to ride around with that damaged car for that long, but man, not too long left in this race. Could have possibly salvaged a few more points out of it. Now, he could go anywhere all the way down, possibly down to 20th. So it's going to be a tough ordeal there to climb back out of that hole he's building himself for Rockingham. Is look at Reed just counter steering down into 4, and that's not what you want to see. Is that's a downhill corner into a wall, and yeah, that'll scare you there as he heads down to 7. Reed definitely fighting that rear end as this run continues on. Is I think the farther we get into, Sam, there are 23 laps into this now, Cochran going up through turn 2. I don't think we're going to see our top guys pit. It looks like Trenton Jump has now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Trenton Jump got to be the first of our top 3 to come into pit road, and we've seen now over half the field have come into pit road at some point during this race. Danny Cochran going to continue to race out there. And this is when things can get interesting. With Trent jumping coming into pit road, he's taking 4 tires and fuel. He'll get back out there on track. The question is, how clean will the track be in front of him, and how fast the lap times will this 46 get? Because he could, with this undercut pitting before the other drivers in front of him, could be trying to make a pass here with this pit stop.
Yeah, very well could be trying to do that, though, as Danny Cochran now coming down throughout the S's into turn 10. You're going to have Trenton Jump coming up and out of 3 down into 4. So going to be a major difference in time here between these two. But we'll see if, Cochran continues on. Like I said, I really feel like they possibly could make it on fuel here. Just doing the math in my head there, 35 laps is going to be very, very close to the edge of that. And Shelly's in now too, so he doesn't feel confident. He wants to come down. He wants to cover off that undercut, I believe, Sam. So we'll see what does Cochran do. He's had that 2.5 second lead. I don't know. You know, if he can make it, I think that is the way to go. Personally, I don't think you make that time up here in that amount of laps here with how long pit road is. But we'll see. His top two competitors at pit now. We'll see if he thinks he can do it.
Well, for that of Isaac Shelley, also going to be seeing that top screen in pit road. That's going to be making Trenton Jump still have even more clean air to work with. But the Isaac Shelley, here comes Thomas Green as well as Trenton Jump. The map pass for second place is going to be close between the two drivers, almost side by side. Here comes Trenton Jump up the hill. They will be side by side, but into the grass is Trenton Jump. He took the advantage and threw it all the way.
Oh man, you gotta compliment him for trying it. He had every ounce of talent there trying to work to get that to happen. Just could not get it wound up, and that's so tough when you're off groove like that on that outer groove. It does not want to turn there, and that's what you're seeing there. So couldn't get the undercut to work. Shelley times it perfectly, comes in and luckily holds on to the lead. That was very F1-esque if you ask me there.
And now the question is for Danny Cochran. If he comes into pit road, he stays out for another lap. This is 2 laps he's given up. The difference when Shelley came into pit road was around 2 seconds. And it looks like for these drivers, each lap that you put down is about 1 second to 2 seconds faster than your best time, if not more, if you were really falling off on your pace. So for Danny Cochran, he's got to be in a worrisome position. If he decides to stay out for another lap, he might have to try to push these final 10 laps, just staying out and not thinking about coming into pit road.
Yeah, I think he's if he doesn't pit this lap here, Sam, I think he's going to go for it because you're like you said, I think at this point with your competition value, you're giving up the lead here if you pit now. If you don't come down this time, we've seen how close it was between Shelley and Trenton Jump, and the gap was bigger between Shelley and Jump than it was between Cochran and Shelley when Shelley came in. So I really feel that he would lose the lead if he was to not come in this time, if he was to come in later. So I think at this point, the pace is pretty good still. 121.73. I mean, they took off at a 119.2. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking at almost 3 seconds of fall off. But with how much time you give up going down pit road, on exit, getting the tires, all that, I don't see that being made up in 10 laps. But we'll have to see as he's sliding around. That's the big thing, though. If he does take it all these laps as he continues on here, the worse the tires get, the easier it is to make mistakes. And one mistake here at Sonoma could end your night.
And that last lap, 1.5 seconds, was the difference for that of Danny Cochran to the pace that Isaac Shelley is most likely going to be putting down. And that is, that's kind of terrifying to see of that big of a difference, but it's 10 laps left here tonight as we take a look at what the lap differences are looking like between the two drivers. And the big thing is this lap coming across the line. What is the difference for Shelley compared to Danny Cochran? The difference on track, the gap, gonna be 29 seconds, but on that of lap times, it's bigger than, it's gonna be a massive advantage for Isaac Shelley. And if Shelley could somehow put 3 seconds down each lap, he could catch up to Danny Cochran without Cochran even having to come into pit road.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. If he can keep up that 3 second delta there that he built right there on that lap, he could do it. He could get there. He's 32 seconds behind when he crossed the line, but that means he's going to need that every single lap, and I have not seen that from these tires. They seem to start to fall away after 5 to 6 laps, so it's going to be tough for him to keep that same delta. But the question is, will Danny Cochran's tires continue to degrade, or will they, hit that, plateau as we've seen? It seems like that last time before he did lose a very good bit of time from the lap before. This time again, another 122.6. So again, about the same lap times before. We'll see what Shelley gains this time. It'll be very critical with 9 to go.
Another driver that's further back making their first pit stop. Tyler Dangler's coming in, leaving us with just a total of 4 drivers that have not pitted at all here tonight. That's going to be first place runner Danny Cochran, second place runner Jared Talmadge, and as well going to be 5th place runner Ollie Fonseca, and finishing that out 10th place runner Logan Brakey. Those 4 drivers have not pitted. Everyone else has come in for 4 tires and fuel, or have come in multiple times for damage repair, and this is going to be a real big thing for Danny Cochran. He went from consistently running 1 minute 21 second lap times. He's now consistently running 1 minute 22 times. It's not looking good, but the difference, when Isaac Shelley took over that positioning, over that Trenton Jump after coming into pit road, the gap around 36 seconds to our leader. It's now down to 26, and it is closing down quickly with 9 coming up to 8 laps to go once the 2 comes across the line.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch this coming down to the end. I think they're going to get pretty close. The question is, will they get there? They got Morales up ahead of them here. This is going to be tough. They're going to catch the 91 right in the S's here. This is not where you want to catch lap traffic. We'll see if Martin gets off to the side here. But no, going to hold station there right ahead of this group. And that's going to definitely hold these guys up heading down in the 10. And that is going to be a sigh of relief for Danny Cochran. There's a little bit of contact to the 91.
Puts him in the wall.
Into the inside wall. Yeah, that is not what you want to see.
And Martin Morales Jr. frustrated. Shelley overcorrects after the miscommunication and jumps now going to take the spot. Now giving up even more time than they did before. And Isaac Shelley might have gotten into his own head after making the contact with the 91.
Yeah, probably got a little bit of frustration flowing through him. And I tell you, that's easy to do there and get your head off the game when you need it most here, especially at a road course like Sonoma. And that is really helping the case for Danny Cochran. Again, that time there, a 1:21.3 for Trenton Jump with that checkup, a 1:23.4 for Danny Cochran. That is a really big loss of time for him, though, in his latest lap. Luckily for him, though, they had that mistake.
Well, we might be questioning for Danny Cochran. Does he have the tires? Does he have the fuel? Well, here's some great equipment they wish they probably had, and if they do, good on them. If they don't, they need to get it, and that's going to be your iRacing iFlag system, your virtual flag system. It comes with, if you go for the package of the digital pit board, this is probably my favorite equipment that iRacing iFlag has. It can give you your average on your fuel remaining, as well as how much fuel you've been using in these last 5 laps. It's a must need for your rig. Go get it. It's a small, useful upgrade, and go to iRacingIFlag.com to go get yourself your iRacing iFlag, as well as your digital pit board. And as well, you can go grab your spotter system that can tell you who's to your left, who's to your right. Go to www.iracingiflag.com. Use our promo code FreakyFast2022 to get yourself a discount code. As well, forgot to give them a note, but I do want to give a big thanks to that of North Star Designs, as they were our stage break sponsor. As North Star Designs, if you want to get yourself graphic designs, logos, websites, and more, hey, they've got plenty of samples. Go over to North Star Designs on Instagram, or at that of TWNORSE on Twitter or Twitch. Whatever you need to go, remember, if you want to stand out, look to the stars. North Star Designs. Thank you to all the amazing sponsors that are out there. We're now closing in on our final 7 laps here. Hey, if you want to get the true enhancement, I think a lot of these drivers probably have been feeling that squealing of those rear tires. We've been seeing it visually. Well, hopefully you'd like to feel it as well. Go get yourself a ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yourself a game or two. Attaches to your racing rig, attaches to your chair. Doesn't matter what you're watching. It's just a video. You're playing a video game. Feel the sounds, not just hear them. Go use our promo code FreakyFast20 for 20% off. ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Hey, I said hook it up to your rig. Well, if you have not even started, this is the best place to go. Advanced Sim Racing, your one-stop shop to get yourself your own racing chassis and more. Monitor stands, racing wheels. It's your basically the sim racing eBay online. Advanced Sim Racing. Use our discount FreakyFast5 for your discount purchases. Okay, you've got your rig, you've got your game or two from ButtKicker. You've also got all the equipment from that of Freaky Fast, from that of iRacing iFlag. Hey, you've got yourself set up. Go to iRacing, get your membership, get out there and get racing. As for the drivers here tonight, we're closing in our 5 laps to go, and the action here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting doesn't end here. We got our post-race show coming up right when the checker flag's over. We take a small break, we get our top 3, get their thoughts of how tonight went, and we got to go over to that of second place, because second and third, they're getting rowdy coming down the S's.
Yeah, right here, they got Jared Talmadge up ahead of me here in second, but they are definitely getting rowdy here. As it looks like Trenton Jump is doing everything in his power to hold on to his position. We'll see right here, the 98 going to look to the inside here in 10. Not usually a passing zone, but gets it done, and that is unnormal to see there as they head to 11 here. We'll see, is the 98 going to defend? Yes, he does here. As comes Trenton Jump on the outside. Don't think that's going to be the opportunity once, as he's going to try to cross over. They make a little more contact. Those two definitely having a little bit of an excursion tonight.
Well, it's more so of, I think they recognize, if we even catch up to that of Danny Cochran, it's between us. Who is going to get this positioning? And for Isaac Shelley, he is not racing for a playoff, but he certainly is racing a playoff driver with everything he's got. And this is got to be frustrating for Trenton Jump, as he knows he needs every point possible, especially going into Rockingham next week, where you easily could have a race like Ethan Smith had. Just terrible run, and could be placed in a must-win scenario. Is that double zero with that of Anthony Gaudio? This is going to be a very interesting time, but obviously for the drivers here, 5 laps to go, and Danny Cochran feeling comfortable with a 22-second gap lead over that 3rd and 4th place runner of Shelley in Jump. That of Jared Talmadge in 2nd place, feeling all right where he's at right now.
Yeah, this is looking good for Danny Cochran with 5 to go, man. I'm telling you, with the gap he has, he can pretty much cruise, and he's even dropped his times down into the 121s again. This time there, another 121, high 121 for him. So great stuff there, finding consistency for him. I think the battle we're going to have to watch for with 4 to go, it's going to be Talmadge. Can he hold on to the 2nd position? Can he hold on to a 3rd position? Because Shelley is definitely closing him down. Trenton Jump also there. But man, I'll tell you what, if Talmadge could steal a podium from these guys, it would be an amazing drive for him here with the no stop.
Cody Reed having to come into pit road here late with 4 laps to go. He was hoping for a solid run for himself. Going to be gifting a position to Eric Kralik, who needed a spot for himself. Want to talk about a driver that's cracking the top 5, making a pass here late through turns 11. Christopher Norris now cracking the top 5 over the 24. And Ollie Fonseca in the 24 machine still has not pitted. Same for Logan Brakey and our top 2. Those are the 4 drivers that are risking it all, hoping they've got enough tires and fuel to get to the end of this race.
Oh, misses turn 2 a little bit there for Norris, but behind him, Fonseca slides the rear end along with Green back there behind. What a drive this to him from this 54, man. 10th to 5th here for him. This, has got to be a huge morale victory for Christopher Norris. Didn't make it into this next round here of the playoffs. Unfortunately, was super close to doing that, but he is going to come down here to 7 and be in the top 5 at a road course. That is definitely something that he has picked up on his game, and man, he is looking very, very smooth around this racetrack right now.
I mean, huge credit to Christopher Norris. You think back to last week and all the races that we covered with Christopher Norris here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It was a terrible weekend of Saturday at Talladega with WSSRI Racing Flag Cup Series action, as well as last week with the NAISCC Truck Series. Norris, I even called him on the broadcast at Talladega, seemed like a weapon at times. But here tonight at that of Sonoma, he's found his groove, and a top 5 is looming over him if he can keep it clean. 3 laps to go, and behind him, Thomas Green has made the pass for 6th, and he's trying to gain every position possible to make sure his points are looking good into Rockingham next week.
Yeah, Thomas Green is one of those playoff contenders. He's going to be pushing hard here to get every point, like you said there, Sam, with 3 to go. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see if he can move himself up closer. But the one thing I just watched is, oh no, Jared Talmadge, he must have got just passed by Shelley. As I check up here, Shelley has gotten by for 2nd. So, man, Isaac Shelley turned the afterburners on, really getting away from Trenton Jump. Now it's going to be the case, can Talmadge hold on to 3rd? But the way he slid through the messes, I think Trenton Jump's going to have a pretty easy pass coming up here as they head down the 10.
And looking at the times and the gains that have been made for Isaac Shelley, the gap just too large, 17.5 seconds as it's 2 laps to go here at Sonoma. It's looking like Danny Cochran, as long as he does not absolutely wreck this 2 or get wrecked, he's looking solid right now, and that's all he's going to be thinking about. Stay smooth, don't make any mistakes on my end, and hope the drivers around me don't take or wipe me out. And Danny Cochran, the driver that came away, purposely wrecked that of drivers during the season, found himself with a 3-race suspension, came in, had to have a fantastic run at Richmond to make sure he could even make it into the playoffs, made it to the playoffs, made the cut to the round of 8, and now an opportunity to lock himself in for a championship run.
Yeah, this is impressive drive from Danny Cochran here. Road course is not one of his strengths, as we've seen before, but it is showing here tonight, and he has done the work. As he's got 2 wild cards, as I'd like to say, bottom of Tamer and Rochelle. He's hoping those 2 they just keep it very civil behind him and don't try to come up near him here as he heads down to 11 for the penultimate time.
Coming through turns 11. getting hard on the brakes, trying to survive. Behind him, though, you're going to be seeing drivers. Tamer almost wiping out that of Cal Rochelle as they were racing for position 11. But we stay green, no yellow across the line. It's your Fletcher Flores white flag here for the Sonoma for that of the wine country showdown here at Sonoma Raceway. And Danny Cochran, all he has to do, survive these final 10 corners, and the 2, he's locked into the final 4.
Oh, we got action at the start-finish line. Trenton Jump goes around in turn number 11 as he's going to lose ground up to Talmadge now, as that lap between those two was pretty wild. So it looks like Jarrett might be able to hold on to third here if he can just get back to this finish. And you got to think Trenton Jump, he is not going to be happy that he is not going to be able to bring home a podium here possibly tonight, but he's going to have to try to get by Kralik behind, as he's much quicker than the 17. If he can get by Kralik, he might be able to catch up by 11.
That's going to be the big thing. They are coming up the hill. They've got a lot of action for themselves, and you hate to break away from this action right now, but the 2 down through the S's into turns number 9 and coming up to 10. Danny Cochran looking good. Zach, you'll keep your eye out on if Trenton Jump can make those passes and close in on the gap of Jared Talmadge, as that pass for potentially third will be once the 2 crosses the line, as Danny Cochran able to hold off, survive, doesn't need to pit for the 35 laps, and at turn number 12, after suspensions, issues, the 2, he wins, and he's battling for a championship.
What a job by Danny Cochran there. Doesn't have to go in the rocket hammer and worry too much. As you look back here, Trenton Jump just trying to hang on to everything here. He's not going to get to the 17. The 17 of Jared Talmadge going to salvage it here and bring it home in the third position after Shelley bringing home second. So 2 non-playoff drivers bringing it home second. Third is Trenton Jump, the winner for Watkins Glen, struggling to get back here in fourth.
Finally gets the finish done. Here's the pass though for 5th place. Christopher Norris, bump, shove. Here comes Thomas Green to the inside, drifting, side contact. They continue to beam big, spinning Norris around. It's going to be Green. Norris not getting the top 5, and Thomas Green bullies his way to 5th position.
Yeah, a little bit of hard contact between those two, and man, I tell you, I don't know if the 15 was trying to spin him or what, but man, it definitely affected the finish there. Great running by them, and here comes Fonseca into the picture. There's some it's gonna be a fun time in the boxing ring, I think, Sam.
It certainly is, and welcome to turn 2 race car graveyard. That is where all the drivers, once they finish the race, they just put their trucks up in that spot. There's a hill you can dive bomb it into, and drivers are having their fun. As we're seeing here, Danny Cochran coasting his way with Isaac Shelley. Shelley tried his best, comes up 17.8 seconds too far back, and he'll come away with second place. But for Danny Cochran, into turn 11, the most space you can find on the course, and he'll start to burn it down. The 2 locking himself into the final 4, and what a run for Danny Cochran. One of the favorites that we had here, Zach, coming into this season. Really wasn't the season he was expecting. A lot more drama filled than I think any of us could have been predicting, but he is still making it into the final 4.
Yeah, still making it to the final 4. Going to have another chance at championship, and man, this 2, we, like you said, we expected this out in the season. Had his major ups, but he's had his major downs too, and now able to bring it back into that range that he needs to keep it in. And man, we'll see what he has here heading off into these final 2 races. I mean, Rockingham just going to be a tune-up race for him, but we'll see what he can get done for a championship. He flirted with that wall all night there on entry. He went to do a burnout with it.
You got to celebrate it with that. That's how what we want to see. Celebration at the end of the day, and that's the 2 gets to burn it down here as he gets to have his fun. We're going to step aside when we come back. Again, post-race show, we'll talk to our top 3, get their thoughts on how tonight went, and congratulations again to Danny Cochran on getting the win here at Sonoma and locking himself in. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hallrock from Warrior Running Productions. As you got to see that of the Wine Country Showdown, and it certainly was here tonight at Sonoma Raceway. As we've got our top three, get their thoughts on how tonight went. Some had to really fight for their positionings, others disappointment, and we know one driver is extremely happy. We're going to start with that of Jared Talmadge in the 17. Get his thoughts on how tonight went. Jared, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. How in the world did you come away with third place? And how are those tires feeling after that long run here tonight?
Not good. Um, I don't know how I got third, to be honest. At the start of the practice session, I was nowhere. I was in the 120s, and I figured I'd just stay out because I knew that was probably going to be it because you can make it on feel. And I forced Trenton into a mistake, which was amazing. Can't lie, definitely laughed a bunch. But I'm happy with the third.
Yeah, Jared, I tell you what, buddy, that's good. That's a very good run for you to bring it home in third here at Sonoma. And, taking the tires that long here is very, very difficult. Was that the plan coming in the race? Like you said, you knew you could make it on fuel. So was that the game plan coming in, just to no stop all the way and try to make the tires last?
Yeah, from the start, I was just I kind of saved him a little bit, but I wanted to stay as close as I could to the top four because I knew they were a lot faster than me. So, because if any of them pitted, to be able to just have that gap and yeah, that was so hard. I'm dead.
Oh, Jared, you did a great job here tonight, coming away with a third place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Shout out Ike and Thomas, my teammates, and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Well, that's going to be the 17. Jared Talmadge coming away with a third place finish here tonight and one of four drivers that did not pit. Congratulations, Jared, and good luck going into these final 2 weeks.
Thank you.
As now we head over to second place finisher Isaac Shelley, who fought and climbed his way through, had a couple of bumps and bruises, but comes away with a second place run. Isaac, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You come away with a second place run for yourself, but man, how were those final 10 laps trying your best to run down that too?
Yeah, fun race, man. A lot of fun. Can't say that I've had that much fun in a while when iRacing. Just us three under a blanket there at the beginning of the race, and then I was gonna pull the same strategy Danny did, but he saved his tires. I was balls to the wall since lap one. I was just going for it. I got nothing to lose. It's win or bust. I'm not racing for anything other than win, but um, it was a lot of fun. And then Danny obviously saved his stuff better. So he started pulling away. So I saw Trenton pit back there. So I figured I'd try and do the same. And I think if the race was probably like 45 laps instead of 35 laps, maybe we could have got back there because once I got around a couple lap cars and it was clean air, it was like 3-4 seconds a lap I was putting on him. So it was a lot of fun. I outbroke Trenton in the S's and turn 10, and that was really cool. I felt like Superman. That was pretty cool. Yeah, just a lot of fun. I love road racing. I can't get my crap together on ovals for some reason, but then road racing I'm pretty good at. So, yeah, overall, really, really fun race.
Yeah, it definitely was, Isaac. Man, it was fun to watch you guys battle all, like you said, all three of y'all pretty much under a blanket for majority of that run. And like you brought up, you said once you got past the lap cars in the clean air, how tough was it behind Danny there? We saw how close you could get, but it just seemed like you could never get enough run off the exit to set him up for a pass. So how tough was it following?
It was. I wouldn't say it was tough. It was tough, but like, yeah. It was tough. That's what I'm trying to say. It was tough because when you're all by yourself, like on a hot lap, you can see clearly your braking points, where you want to brake, where you want to turn in, where you want to get on the gas. And when you're following a car, you just kind of lose that vision of where you want to brake because you're just like, all you see is bumper. So, I felt like I was better than him throughout the majority of the lap, and then he just pull it all away in like the exit of turn 11, and then I would gain it all the way back. And the one lap, he got really loose out of 10, and I knew that was my shot, so I shot it up the inside of him, and I didn't want to like hit him. He kind of tried to squeeze me into the tires, and I kind of gassed it up and got loose, and I didn't want to like hit him and wreck him because he is racing for a lot, and I understand that. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Obviously he's a good road racer. Trenton's a good road racer, so it was fun. Just all three of us just putting like 110% every single lap, and yeah, I can't. I know I've said it a lot, but I can't describe like how much fun that was.
Well, Isaac, it certainly was a blast for us to call up here in the booth, and you put on a great show for us. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, Premier Racing Graphics, JT Thomas, Jarrett for being great teammates. I think overall we had a really good night. I think Jarrett did get a podium in the end, so it's second and third is not bad. And congrats to Danny on the win. He was obviously super fast all night, and everyone who makes this show possible, because it is a lot of fun to race every week.
Well, that's going to be the 98 of Isaac Shelley. Congratulations on your second place finish, and good luck in these final 2 races of the season.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
As now we head from second place runner to that of victory lane, where we find ourselves with Danny Cochran. Danny, a great run for yourself. You win with strategy, and it worked out. Man, how are those tires feeling in those final 5 laps coming to the end?
What tires? I was driving on rims for like the last 10 or so, it felt like. I mean, those good years, I think I got everything I possibly could out of them, I tell you.
Yeah, Danny, congrats, buddy, on the big win here. Get yourself locked into that next round there to fight for a championship. Now that's definitely a big sigh of relief, I'm sure, off your back. But man, I tell you what, great job managing those tires. Take us through that, because it had to be a management game out front there, not to try to go and run too hard.
Yeah, I'd done a few test runs earlier in the week, and by the way, I put in, man, I don't have a life. I put in like 9 hours on VRS this week, logging laps. So I done a couple full runs to see how far I could make it on fuel, and I figured out that I could make it to the end if I went kind of easy at the start of it. But yeah, the hardest part for me, Zach, was probably the first 5 to 10 laps where I had Trenton and then Isaac Shelley as well on my back bumper. Just trying to stay cool under the collar and just maintain my composure and not get too overzealous wanting to pull out a lead. I know at one point Isaac, he got under me in turn 11 there, and I thought I might lose it for a moment. But yeah, it was just a race of mainly just trying to keep my head together and, just not overdrive the thing all night long.
Danny, you came in tonight as the bubble driver, 4th in points. You come out as the first driver locked into the final 4, racing for a championship. I know this hasn't been the season you've been hoping for, but man, how are you feeling on that aspect of you're now racing for a championship?
Oh well, I feel like we've had a really strong run ever since we came back at Richmond. I believe, except for Talladega, we've been in the top 3 every week, and even there, I was in the lead pack on the final lap. Just restrictor plate racing happened, but yeah, it's a big burden off my chest, that's for sure, because I really wanted to make sure that and be certain that I had a good spot going into Rockingham, because if you watched the race there last season, and I know you all were there for it, it can get hectic there. So I really wanted to make sure that I was in a good spot going in there where anything could happen.
Well, Danny, you done it. You survived. You got the win. You made the fuel work and the tires to work. Congratulations on the win. Good luck into Rockingham, and hopefully you can find that momentum. But overall, congratulations on making it into the Final 4.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you all.
As Danny, before we officially let you go, man, I know you've got probably people to thank. That's floor is yours as well.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I completely forgot about that. Buddy's Custom Baits. If you want some good fishing lures, soft plastic fishing lures, go check those guys out. Shop DC Racing, or Danny Cochran Racing on Store Frontier. Going late model racing hopefully later this year. So if you want to support the cause and rep the team, go buy a shirt, t-shirt, sweatshirt, anything like that on there. Pittman's Pallets, good discount deals for just various things. Buying wholesale and then parting them out at below retail cost. But yeah, appreciate you all. Freaky Fast, the guys that put on this league every week. Those guys as well. Thank you all for all you do. And we'll see you at Rockingham and at Homestead. So really excited about that. Thank you all.
That is going to be the 2 of Danny Cochran, winner here of the Wine Country Showdown for that of tonight at Sonoma Raceway. Congratulations to Danny Cochran. He is now the first driver to be locked into our Final Four. And Zach, as we bring up the results here tonight, there is a lot of drivers that are happy, they're sad. But overall, I think there's only one driver that feels comfortable going into Rockingham next week.
Yeah, you're completely right about that. It can only be one guy that's comfortable, and that's the guy atop that board right there, Danny Cochran. I mean, what a job by him to get that victory and lock himself in. I mean, Trenton Jump did a great job. Thomas Roon there in 4th and 5th. But definitely some guys like John Forbes, luckily he gets some stage points. Eric Stamp, though, you got to give him credit. Remember, he was off the track with Aaron Kralik at one point. He actually comes home still in the lead lap there to finish 10th. So great job by him. But, man, just a wild race here for Sonoma. And, that's what makes it wild for this decision to have it in this round of the playoffs. And guys going to Rockingham next week with a lot of worries.
A lot of worries for sure. Again, our unofficial results going to be Danny Cochran, Isaac Shelley, Jared Tallmadge, Trenton Jump, as well as Thomas Green going to be your top 5. Christopher Norris bumped out of that final top 5 position, but he'll come away 6th. Still a great run for that 54 with Ali Fonseca, John Forbes, Logan Brakey, and Eric Stamp in your top 10. Drivers that really need a good run going into Rockingham. Eric Rollick going to be in 14th position, as well as Ethan Smith back at 20th. And if he shows up next week, Anthony Gaudio, one of the hottest drivers into the playoffs, he's going to be in a must-win scenario for himself. And now, Zach, for Ethan Smith, the driver that made it into our Final Four last season, he called it quits early here tonight. That's a lot of points that he decided, just a couple of points he gave up. But as coming in as the points leader, he's now going to be right on the bubble going into Rockingham next week. And what are some of your thoughts getting prepared for that?
Well, yeah, like you said, he's going to be right on the bubble, and that's a tough track to be on the bubble in. You got to take a lot of risk at that track to make things happen. The big thing I think guys need to make sure they're going in that race is make sure you qualify well. You do not want to be putting yourself back in the mayhem, because I think early in that race you're going to see some guys not get the grips with that track too well, and it's going to cause some mayhem down there in turn 1 and in 1 and 2 especially. So I expect a lot of calamity, and if you can, get to that Final Four, that's all that matters, man. So we'll have to see what these drivers can plan to do. But I'm expecting, with the way the finishes were tonight, you can't predict the Final Four. The only person we know that's in it is Danny Cochran. Trenton Jump, definitely it built his resume tonight with the finish there 3rd in that stage 2. That really is going to help him with those points. But, man, still one little mistake, and you could be out of that top 4. Remember, this is only 4 drivers going through, so it's a lot more close when it comes to those points. I can't wait, Sam. I'm telling you that much. Rockingham, one of the most historic tracks. Personally, the first NASCAR track I ever attended in my real life, so it's definitely a special one up there for me, and I can't wait to see these guys do battle to set our grid for that championship race as we head into that final one, and then crown a champion for season 2. I can't believe we've been through almost 2 of these things.
Well, next week, the last race of the round of 8 before we fully know our championship 4 that will race at Homestead in 2 weeks. And The Rock, what a spot. Last season was the race that we saw some of the most contacts, most wrecks of the whole entire season. Well, it's now going to be the final destination to see who's going to be going to the championship run. And all of our championship contenders know it is going to be a very tough week. Well, speaking of the week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we've got a full one. We've got a lot of racing action for you. Tomorrow is our off day, but after that, we've got a lot of racing content, starting things off with Wednesday, MRRS Super Late Model Series. We were at 5 Flags last week. Well, let's try South Boston this go around. See who's going to be getting the win, short track racing style, for Wednesday night. Then Thursday, season 3 for us covering for that of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, but it's season 5 for the total of that crew. We are excited to be covering their Bud Shootout for themselves. Shootout racing style. It is going to be some fun competition, different type of racing, but big money on the line for the Stars and Stripes Thursday night. Then we got another break on Friday, but then we've got that of the WSSR iRacing iFlag Cup Series as our second short track of the season attends, as there will be at Phoenix for the next-gen cars. It's been fun. It's been a blast all season long. We cannot wait for more of the racing action this week. But if you missed any of that great content, don't worry. Next week, the second to last race of the season, the last race of the round of 8, Rockingham. Who's going to survive the rock and move on to race for a championship? Got to find out next week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For tonight, for Zach Hull, for myself, Sam Dyer, and for Robert Moyer running productions in the background. Thank you for joining us for Monday night truck racing action for the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. Have a good one. We'll see you either this week at one of our other racing events or next week at The Rock.